start to become aware of where you want to end up.
I mean, you can build most businesses for, I don't know, I would say maybe between 10 and 50,000.
4 stars. I'm chasing a
Welcome back. Welcome back to
You're a YouTuber as well, huh?
Chicago, big YouTubers out here.
Big YouTuber.
Making content all day. We're in the beautiful city of Chicago. As you know, George is from here. It's actually where we met. And we're sitting down today for a little conversation with picking George's brain. $10 million plus entrepreneur, Shopify, software, now getting into content and all things online business. So let's hear it.
I appreciate the introduction. So my name is George Stoitzev. I've done over $10 million in e-commerce sales. That's the primary way people know me. Over the last 3 years, I spent working on a software company called Bluesea, which was designed to do SMS and email marketing for those Shopify brands. I finalized the acquisition of that company in early January. And as of now, I want to go full force on content creation and really building George as a brand. I've built all these other brands, these other companies, but I haven't really invested in myself in developing the image of who George is in this world. And that's really the number one business that I see today.
For sure, for sure. And I definitely want to get into not only why are you doing content, because obviously it seems a lot less glamorous than making millions of dollars in e-commerce, but going backwards a little bit, I know, we don't have to dive completely into your story. I know you told a bunch of people, but came from very humble beginnings, worked your way up pretty much through any and all online businesses, flea markets, stuff like that, into Shopify, whatever. What do you think why do you think that's your passion now? And what do you think led you to this point? For example, not starting another huge online brand or saying, okay, maybe software isn't the direction I want to go right now. You got the acquisition and your goal isn't to build another software. It's to focus on, your online presence.
I've done 300 plus consulting calls with entrepreneurs over the years. And the number one thing that I see as a reason for why they got into entrepreneurship is because something bad happened to them.
Yeah.
Right? They couldn't get a job. They had bad grades in school. For me, it was that I was an immigrant. So I came from Bulgaria when I was 4 years old, and I had, in a way, a disability. And my disability that I actually still have today is that I didn't have citizenship.
Yeah.
And so that prevented me from even having job authorization, having a social security number, having a bank account, having the ability to even drive a car.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I was 18 years old that Obama passed this thing called the DACA Act that gave kids like me who were brought here when they were very young. For me, I was 4 years old, the opportunity to now, not be able to get deported and just even have a simple social security number so I can get a bank account.
Yeah.
That was my rationale for why I had to figure it out myself.
For sure.
I had no one else to give me authority to say you are allowed or not allowed to do something.
Definitely.
And so that gave the onus on me to make my own decisions. That it was on me for the quality of my life.
Absolutely.
It was on me to learn the information I needed to learn in order to be adaptable towards any scenario.
For sure.
And what I will say, looking back at it, is that while it's good to have something external force you into a position, many times if you don't have that external stimulus, you need to almost bring it upon yourself. You don't need to wait for something bad to happen, but you need to, in a way, reduce your options and create a type of evolutionary response towards needing to do something.
Perfect.
Because people don't change unless they have to do something, unless something forces them to change. And the only way that sometimes things change is when something bad happens. And if you can create the environment and the systems in which it can force you to take a different path, that's the optimal solution.
Absolutely. I know, some people have said, if you needed to get 10K tomorrow and you had no money, people are like, I can't do that. It's crazy. But then if somebody has a gun to your head or somebody says, I'm selling this Ferrari for 10K, you got to buy it by tomorrow, you're going to be resourceful, figure out a way. And I think a lot of the times, even I felt it, I'm sure you have too, if you make some level of money, sizable or not, the intrinsic motivation to keep it going, don't get me wrong, there's still the motivation there, but it's pretty crazy how easy it is to become comfortable. And you're right, you need some kind of spark to get the fire going.
If you live in America, you have the ability to access capital quite easily today.
Yeah.
And so the problem isn't that you don't have any money. The problem is you don't know how to utilize money in order to generate a return.
For sure.
Because if you did in a systematic way, capital is easily accessible. If you find a great real estate deal, trust me, there are many investors. If you find an amazing e-commerce opportunity, or you're an incredible barber, you want to open up a barber shop.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick example. There's this guy called Billionaire Barber in Miami, and he cuts the hair of many kind of famous entrepreneurs. And he went up to Zane, which is one of my good friends, and he asked Zane, hey, would you invest in the company? And Zane said to him, sure, but bring me a business model. Bring me a complete plan, and I'm happy to do so.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just fund an idea. I want to have very clear, systematic steps as to how you're going to utilize the capital, how it's going to be allocated, and how it's going to generate a return. Mm-hmm. If you could do that, capital is easily accessible.
Yeah.
So the idea that money is the problem, it's really, the real problem is that there isn't enough clarity on how you're going to utilize the money, and there isn't enough trust between two parties.
For sure.
I mean, there are people that are getting loaned hundreds of millions, billions of dollars to create skyscrapers. All on trust, blueprints, relationships, and documentation about how this business model is going to flesh out and how the capital is going to be returned.
It's crazy. I mean, it's totally true. And I was thinking about this, I was speaking with somebody who's an investor, and he was like, oh, like, I've got access to capital. If you ever need X amount of money, he said something like 10 million, whatever. And I'm like, I think about it. A lot of the times it's not even the lack of capital. It's I said I don't have a use for it because you can figure out a lot of things before. I mean, obviously buildings are different, right? But like, you can figure out a lot of things before you need the capital with a lot less money. And a lot of people think, oh, well, I don't have money because they don't have access to millions of dollars. It's like, well, I don't have the know-how, because I've never done it, to go flip a building for 10 million hard money loan and flip it for 12 the next day. And why would somebody ever trust me to do that? I don't know. I just think a lot of people will get ahead of themselves, like, oh, I can't build this because of that. It's like, it's really not that I mean, you can build most businesses for, I don't know, I would say maybe between 10 and 50,000, like you're saying, baseline e-commerce to like software, at least the MVP. That would make it feasible to actually get an investment.
Well, here's an interesting thing. The main mistake I made in the last company was that I thought too big, too quick. And what I mean by that is that I said I was going to build an incredible product from the get-go, and I wasn't going to spend really any time on marketing or building out a quick landing page to test out the market or anything else, because I was so confident in the vision. And the reality is, even though the vision was correct, by the time we produced a product necessary to go back and garner investor interest, it was in a way too late, because you had people coming in from behind you that were going and getting capital from these tier one investors, rendering you now fighting for 5th, 6th, 7th place.
For sure.
And so if I was starting a new company today, it doesn't matter how big the company is, an e-commerce company, a software, you want to start $1 billion software company. The first thing I would do is make a landing page, the shittiest landing page possible. I would create the designs on Figma and make them into a prototype. That can be done for under $3,000 to $5,000, and I can right away go get investment from about $500,000 to about $2 million. And guess what? If you can't raise the money, or people are not interested when you're going on and talking to them, then it's not that good anyway.
And you figured it out for a lot cheaper.
You figured it out for a lot cheaper. You don't have
and a lot quicker.
You don't have to wait towards creating the finalized product to know if it's going to work.
For sure.
You don't have to invest all that time and upfront capital towards validating an idea. An idea can be validated with the simplest landing page, a small 2-minute VSL on a Loom, and a simple Figma prototype that shows you how this product could function once it's fully complete, and the value that it generates in business.
I agree. I think that's the thing where people get, on top of that, people lose a lot of the flywheel effect, because if you don't do that and you overinvest, you spend all your money, you spend all your time, then you get in this like vicious cycle of like not creating a new idea. For example, you fail fast, which is essentially what you're saying. You either succeed fast or fail fast. Okay, $5,000 out the door, you spent a month or two on it. No one wants to do this. Like, you vetted every single option. Okay, found out that it's not going to work. Keep going. But as soon as you've seen, and so have I, like, you start over investing in these projects, it'll wipe you out. You have no more runway after a certain period of time. And by the time, maybe if you achieve critical mass, you could have made certain things even more profitable. But you need that time, or like very, very high levels of efficiency or profitability, which take time to do.
Well, my new company allows me to do many projects without having to invest so much time and effort into any one of them. And the way in which I do that is I invest in myself as a personal brand. And all the moves are now on the chessboard in front of me. I don't have to take any moves. I now create partnerships and educational opportunities for talented individuals to go out and test markets. Oh, so this individual who I've trained, who's a protege student, goes out and tests an e-commerce new type of product. He garners a little bit of success. Well, now we could create partnerships. And now I could pour gas on an existing fire. All these individuals are now going out and spending their time and their efforts towards finding edges in the market,
Yeah.
which are very difficult to find, and many times they're very time-based. It's almost like a wave of new customers, a wave of new technology and opportunities, and you have to almost, in a way, time it to capture that market. And I can't be going out and chasing every single wave,
Yeah.
but I can create one wave,
Yeah.
which is one huge personal brand that can then give me influence over thousands of others who I can educate, who can then go out, find these edges, bring them back to me, and say, now I'm ready to be a partner with George because he can accelerate my opportunity.
Yeah.
It's very easy for me to pour gas on an existing fire, but it's very difficult to get that initial spark and gather the momentum in one particular market.
For sure.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it could take between 3 to 7 months towards finding a new edge. But once that foundation is set, within a week or two, you can be getting $10, $20, $40,000 a day in sales.
Yeah.
It's that quick once that spark happens and that momentum is triggered.
Yep, I agree. And that's like kind of the thing we're always chasing. It's like, how can you shortcut that to that point? Because once you get to that point, life is business is hard, but it's pretty easy. Like to keep the momentum, to keep the motivation, keep things going. But staying too long on the other side can get really, mess you up pretty bad, because then you just start throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, burning through capital, because it's like you're not completing this feedback loop that you need to create the momentum that you're after. And that's why I think now with your focusing on what you're looking to do, it's just the nature of compounding, right? You have the ability to share more ideas, which you've kind of been a hermit for the last couple of years working on software companies when you have all this information to share. So you're at the mercy of whatever you type out on the computer, and if you never share it with somebody, then it's just like a dead project. Yeah. I've done the same thing.
There are 2 reasons why I haven't built up a personal brand till now. One, I've waited to gather all this experience and all this knowledge to really know not only verbally what to talk about, but have some true reference points and true full body experiences on what it feels like when you're in the moment.
For sure.
Right? Because it's one thing to regurgitate information that you might have heard or you might have thought something should work, but there's another almost tangible full body experience of how so much additional data can be generated throughout your whole body, throughout your whole senses. The best analogy I can give is you can only visualize so much how to play the piano.
Yeah.
You have to feel it within your fingertips and almost feel it in your whole body.
Yeah.
And so much in the same way in business, you could take all these concepts and ideas and regurgitate them. You can know them in your head, but it's another thing to truly experience the success or the pain of what it feels like when you get your first big win or a first big, a failure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's a lot of the things where everyone talks about execution and really being the key to everything. And it truly is. It's just, I don't know, man. That whole idea of I don't know how many people we've just been through the similar stuff, is just that is the worst energy. It's just avoid spinning your wheels at all costs, I feel like. And I feel like what you want to do was going to help people shortcut their ability to find out not even what is they want to do, but here's a plug and play solution. You don't have to do it forever. For example, if you're doing agency or e-com or whatever, but this is going to give you that momentum to potentially break free from whatever it is they're doing and get some of their first wins. Because you don't need to make $1 million off the bat. It's some people have never even made 10K before, and it's or 100, and it's okay, well, let's focus on doing that first, right?
The way in which I structure all my education now is the videos are about 2 to 3 minutes long, but they're very, very action focused. Mm-hmm. They're very simple action focused to get them in the right momentum, and they can expand from that position. Because many times you try to overwhelm yourself with information and say, well, I'm going to utilize that someday. And you have all this potential that you can utilize someday.
Yeah.
But you're not getting in the action steps necessary to even be able to utilize them. And so then you come to a position where, okay, you've gathered so much information, but then now you're overwhelmed because you haven't taken action. You're at this position, but where you think you should be or how much information you have already is over here. And that distance that gets generated when you watch these educational courses, 40, 50, 100 hour worth of education, even I get overwhelmed and I know the information.
Yeah.
And so I've purchased and seen so many other people's education. I've even seen my own that I've generated 5 years ago. And it was very focused on creating a lot of information, try to encompass every little tidbit that could potentially happen in a situation. And it wasn't so focused on, well, what is the simplest action I can get this person to take within each video? And if I could just do that and I can lead him in the right direction, his own momentum will take him forward. And when he finds a relevant question to ask, he doesn't need me. He has Google, YouTube, GPT. Why does he need me? He doesn't need me. He doesn't need me for that. And that's really not what my education is for. My education is not to hold your hand. It's to find talented entrepreneurs, get them going in the right direction, and it could be as simple as a couple of sentences, a couple of key action steps. And once they're going in that right direction, well, every move they make within that direction is a correct move. Whereas if that person just strayed ever so slightly here, no matter how talented he is, he's now making decisions in a wrong direction, thereby every decision is incorrect. And in fact, he gets deeper. He makes bigger and bigger correct individual decisions on a wrong total direction. That's what happened to me over the last 3 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I
give
was
an example.
flying.
Yeah.
I had so much talent and ability, and I said, "Oh, it doesn't matter which direction it goes, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which direction. I'll find my way, because I'm so talented. I'm so skilled that no matter which way I took, I'll always find a way to traverse back to the end goal."
Yeah.
That was completely incorrect.
Yeah.
Because what did I say from the beginning? Oh yeah, I know that I should raise money from the beginning. I know that I should do marketing. I know that I should do a landing page. I know that I should do a prototype before I do that. But I'm so talented, I'm so skilled that I'm going to go this other route, because in my head, I was thinking, well, if I go this wrong route, quote unquote, then I can shortcut it at the end. So while it might take me 2 years to go this wrong way, at the very end, I'll leapfrog them.
Yeah.
That was what's going on in my head. It's kind of like saying, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to California first, and then I'm going to get faster to New York.
Yeah.
Instead of just starting to go to New York in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, the concept was, well, right now I can only start traversing to New York with a bike, but I have a plane to go to New York, and then I have a plane to go to California, and then I can go even faster. Yeah. So the time it would take for me to just start traversing here would be slower than if I would go here to here. Yeah. That was my thought process.
Yeah.
But what I failed to realize was, okay, yeah, while I might start off with a small bike, meaning a simple landing page, just talking to a couple of investors with no product, it could quickly turn into a car, an airplane, really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Instead, I thought, okay, I'm gonna wait all this time to build my own plane, because then even if I have to take a loop around, it'll be faster.
And the thing is, too, you're stifling yourself, because, like you said, with that talent, the more stress you put on yourself without having outside investors, you're stifling any of that creativity and talent that would have built something, maybe world class, the ability to do it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Where if you did that at the beginning, you obviously could see, like, if you had investment from the day one and you knew what you were building, it was clear. All you would have to focus on is being George, being a leader, and building it. So.
Well, there's two parts. One, I didn't feel confident building a software company, so I wanted to put up all this upfront investment so I can garner all these skills to be able to do it.
For sure.
That was a wrong mistake too, because there's a better way to do it. The second mistake is that I was saying, oh, I'm gonna cash in this check, which is 2 years of my life, and I'll be able to withdraw the money in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
That's another wrong mistake. Why, if 5 years in the future, you would give all the money you ever have to go back to where you are now.
Yeah.
So why would you turn in your money your time for the chance of getting something in the future, whereas you could just start from now going in that direction?
Yeah.
And many times, if you start going now in that direction, you align your life with your business, you'll get a much higher return anyway.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you hear these crazy survival stories, like, oh my God, I put everything I had into this and I spent 5 years of my life, and then at the end I emerged victorious, a rising phoenix from the ashes.
Yeah.
Those are the survivor stories.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that make for maybe a good movie, based on a true story idea.
Yeah.
But
Is that the
I don't-
ideal life though?
that's probably not the ideal life you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't hear about you don't hear about all the ones that died along the way.
Yeah,
Those don't make for a good movie.
exactly.
Oh yeah, he got started. He died.
Yeah. He was
Those don't
working
make
at
for,
it.
they don't make for a good
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, and then if you never prove it to yourself, you just look like the guy who's a dreamer who like died on the way, and you're like,
Yeah.
he had some ideas.
Yeah,
Like,
don't take the risk to. It's like playing the lotto.
yeah, literally.
Why take on that? Why take on that risk when the risk reward is really not there?
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel now? Like now, and I think just in general, like your life. You know, when I met you and you're doing $60K a day in sales and that like nature, like what did you want to do then? Like has your life changed from then to now? What is that, 5 years ago?
Oh, that's funny you asked that question because throughout my whole entrepreneurial journey, from flea markets to selling t-shirts online to print on demand to mugs to all these different dropshipping products, people along the way have always asked me, "Oh, is that what you want to do?" And I said, thought it was a weird question. Like, no, it's kind of weird. I'm finding an opportunity to make money, to live my life, and build up all these skills. I've known I've wanted to build my own personal brand for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I've been studying everyone for this whole time. It's not like I just whimsically, oh, you know what? It was always in the back of my mind. I simply thought, I kept postponing it. I said, okay, when I did 3 million drop shipping, oh, you know what? It's not there yet. Let me do another level. Okay, when I did 10 million in an e-commerce company, you know what's not there? I need to do something bigger to feel like I have the authority to speak to younger George.
Yeah.
I wanted to have something that if I was to speak to George at 18 to 20 years old, he would listen to me.
Yeah.
And I felt that I didn't have it yet. And so today I feel like I do.
Yeah.
I feel like younger me would listen to me. And the reason why I think he would listen to me is, one, he would know that I'm more intellectually capable than him. I think that's what he valued the most. And I think that's what really young talent value a lot, is the feeling of not just your experience or that you found a way to make money or that, you found this relationship to get you in a good position. That's all cool. And they might, be around you because they want to leverage it from you. But the way in which I really think that talented entrepreneurs like myself started respecting others was feeling like they were intellectually capable to do anything, to be very adaptable. And my personal brand now has a mission. And now I'm ready to do that mission. And the mission is to discover and educate the world's top young talent in business design and engineering. And because I have all the businesses I've had, we're just training. We're just a training model to allow me to do this, which is the real thing. Mm-hmm. The real thing is the only lifelong business you have is yourself.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, we are living in the digital age where so much of your data can be encapsulated forever. Mm-hmm. I have only a couple of pictures of my parents when they were young. Yeah. I have maybe 2 to 3 of my grandparents. Yeah. And my great-grandparents, I have no information about them at all.
Yeah.
Yet my great-great-great-great-grandkids, if the human civilization lasts that long, will have so much information about me to almost recreate me with the new AI systems. Yeah. The newer AI systems in the future will have full holographic representations of who George is at this current safe state.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, in a way, feed it bad data.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't post many things publicly is I said, I don't like it yet. Look at these new GPT models. The newest GPT models utilize very few high quality information to create almost identical production than GPT-4. So check this out. GPT-4 has about 120 billion parameters. Mm-hmm. And the performance of these newer ones that takes into account a very, very smaller subset of only the highest quality information produces similar results. And so I think that's a little off topic, but I felt in a way I didn't want to put out things publicly about who I am because I knew this was going to be remembered forever. Yeah. And so I was scared. I was scared that, damn, I was going to in a way, feed it bad data. Or I know people would say, well, it's the journey, all this kind of stuff. I understand the merits to that, but I also understand the reality of something else. if you meet someone, you start building a relationship with someone, and they start disclosing information about certain things, like their mindset when something bad happened to them, or maybe, I don't know, certain things that happened to them bad, that they were a victim in, or certain things like that, it muddies your perception of them.
Yeah.
And it muddies the relationship you have with them the whole time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change.
It doesn't go away, yeah.
It doesn't change. You could try to masquerade over it, but that's what I've actually seen in reality.
Yeah.
What I've seen in reality is that the information you give to other people will be used against you in a way.
Yeah. No, that's true.
For my last girlfriend, this is a very interesting story. But one of the main problems she would have is, oh, I have a bad relationship because my past cheated on me.
Yeah.
And she took this, and she when she told me this, now my perception of her changed.
Yep.
She is the girl that gets cheated on.
Yeah.
She's the girl that other people take advantage of.
Yeah.
Now, that cannot be washed away. That perception, that mindset now lingers on a whole relationship.
And yeah, to your point, obviously, that's unfortunate, and like
Of
people don't have
course.
control over it. But the fact that she told you, and I've been in the same situation previously as well, it's like it always thinks in the back of your head is like, oh, maybe that's why. Okay, obviously I get it. It's a sensitive
Yes.
subject, but you're always thinking like, oh man, she did, like maybe this is normal, like because she validated it, like this has happened before. This is on the table.
No, the reality is you shouldn't disclose information like that. There's no merit to it. You think that, oh, I'm going to disclose this information, and what? The other person's going to feel pity for me? That he's going to treat me better because he hears this information?
Yeah, exactly.
What is, oh, because he's going to know the real me, the real story of who I am. Yeah. What is real?
Yeah.
You are a completely different person than you were when you even woke up. You started, your safe state changes. Every 7 years, almost every cell in your body is completely changed.
Yeah.
So this idea of your real self is ever changing. And if you continue on dragging a story of who you were in the past, you can never create a different version of who you are.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, dude. And I think even for me, like thinking about back in the day, like I like whatever, long and short of it is, bad at sports. I had a normal upbringing, but it was whatever. Obviously didn't have money, all that stuff. But I think a lot of the times it's like that same little kid, that chunky little kid, whatever that I was, who got picked on, whatever. Like those confidence issues linger. Yes. And I noticed myself always telling people that story. Oh yeah, like really shit at sports, all that stuff. And I'm like, look, I don't mind. It doesn't make. I'm like, I like being open with people. But the more I reinforce that ideal, I'm like, no one needs to know this.
No,
like because when people, for example, elementary school, whatever, middle school, then every time you're going out to play a sport, they're like, clearly no, I'm not the guy. It's like putting you in a bad position right out of the gate. But now, for example, we say we go to play baseball or something, you wouldn't know. You'd be like, oh, he's probably just as good as me. Like that's okay. And a lot of that perception really is reality. It's like kind of crazy. And like 100% what you said, people project these things on themselves, which, could have been broke last year, have more money now. And then if you constantly think like, oh, I'm like, failure, what, I don't know. But to your point, you could change it really quickly. And I think we all get locked up a little too much. I've never heard it said like that though, like not projecting yourself on other people. Choosing
the words you say about yourself and what you say to others, probably the number one most important thing.
Yeah.
Last year, the change that happened to me that shifted my direction after all that time of going in the wrong direction was I reached out to someone that I thought was very talented. It was a student I had a couple of years prior in 2020. His name is Roman. And I said, Roman, I'm not going to talk. I want you to give me advice. He said, okay, I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice. He said, number 1, are you taking care of yourself? And the first thing I said, well, I know what to do. He said, yes, everyone knows what to do, but are you doing it? I said, no, I'm not. So that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing you do is you got to read this book. It's called Transurfing. That's why, wow, I've never read this book. What's it about? He said, just read the book. On the first page of Transurfing, it's a very short book. It's about 70 pages. The first thing it says is, simply be aware that right now you are almost in a dreamlike state where everything was not under your control. The decisions you made that got you to this position you are today, almost none of it you picked. So almost like in a real dream, when you can start controlling that dream, it's called lucid dreaming. So it's where your awareness turns on. And once the awareness turns on, you can exhibit more control over the environment for your character to move around in.
Mm-hmm.
And I started laughing. I said, wow, in this moment that I don't like, I got everything I wanted. Because years prior, the words I said got me to make decisions that I am in today. And it almost felt like a dream that I had no control over. I was simply making decisions in that path. And while I was saying that, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't, I know what to do, I'm giving other people the right advice, I was in a dreamlike state in my direction. And what got me out of that loop was, oh my God, just rewrite my program. I listened to the words I was saying before. Oh, I want to suffer. I want to see how much I could take. I want to spend all my money and try to do something crazy.
You did it.
I was like, oh my God, amazing, perfect. I got exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I said, but I became aware that I don't want that. And I started rewriting the program. Everything is so simple and effortless. Everything I do, money just flows directly to me. I have so much skills and ability to help everyone, but the number one way I can help everyone is by first helping myself to give me more leverage to help everyone in their opportunity. The way you help someone isn't by going and saying, hey, can I help you, can I help you, can I help? Oh, it looks like you're trying to help, but it's a very taking mentality. Mm-hmm. Because what are you saying? You're trying to help. Everyone's self-interested. Everyone is self-interested. So when you say, hey, I want to help, what it's saying to the other person is, how am I going to repay this debt of what this person is trying to give me? Because they're incurring a debt. By someone taking on help from someone else, they're now incurring a debt that they have to pay back to this person in some way. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's money, maybe it's introducing to some connection, but in some way.
Absolutely.
And so the best way you can help others is by you being the source, your cup overflowing. Mm-hmm. And this very popular quote in the Bible, Jesus' cup overfloweth.
Yeah.
And what that meant to me was, if you have a lot of money, status, influence, power, relationships, if you are an individual of your own and water just flowing out of you, you help everyone around you simply by being.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a little bit of water and you're just trying to take some water, hey, can I give you some water? Can I give you some water? It doesn't work. Your cup is always empty.
Yeah.
You have nothing to give other people.
Yeah.
And I said, George's cup overflows. Everything going forward, the best way for George to help others is by building himself. That is the only way. It's the only way. It's the best way.
And what do you say? Because when I hear building yourself, the first thing I obviously it goes to is like fitness,
selfishness,
taking care of yourself. But tell me like the 3 to 5 step plan of taking care of yourself.
Yeah. The number one way, well, it's a 10 course video on George's Academy. But the simple thing is, number one is simply be aware of this exact moment. Look around you. Do you have dirty clothes? What are the words that you're saying on a daily basis? What is the software running on autopilot? When you wake up, your mind comes online and programs start opening up. Oh, I have to pay the bills. Oh man, my girlfriend. Oh, I gotta go to work. These are automatic programs running. You have to be aware of them, write them out, and almost like an activity log, start force quitting. Force quit. Because your brain is overclocked. You can't even think straight. If you've ever had a slow computer that's barely running, look at your activity monitor and you see that your CPU is overclocked, your memory is jammed. Mm-hmm. You have all these programs open, same thing's going on in your head.
Sure.
People have all these programs running on autopilot. They can't even think straight to make the next move. So the first thing you have to do, become aware of that, force quit them, even for 30 minutes in the beginning of the day or whenever you can. Throughout the day, try to open them up and force quit. Mm-hmm. Open them up, force quit. Now that your brain is moving a little faster, now you have a window of opportunity. It could be 20 minutes or 30 minutes before those programs open up. Go remove people. Go on social media, start remove. Unblock, delete, remove. Move. Because you only have a short window of time. Go pick up some clothes. Go brush your teeth. Go do those small things. Because soon enough, 30 minutes goes by, all those programs open up again. Fuck my girlfriend, my mom, my brother, all these problems are happening in my life. Okay, a couple hours later, you're like, okay, you've gathered up a little bit of motivation, run it again. Keep running it. Okay, now you're moving in the right direction. Second thing, now that you're going in a slightly right direction and your brain is working, start to become aware of where you want to end up. So now you're moving, but where the hell are you trying to end up? And the way you do that is many people have said this, but a vision board. Mm-hmm. What does my body look like? What do my relationships look like? What exact apartment or house am I living in? A picture of the exact house, of the exact apartment, of the exact view, of the exact girl, of the exact dog, of the exact furniture. Put that as your wallpaper on your phone. Now you're going in the right direction. You know exactly where you're trying to end up. But throughout the day, you're gonna fail all the time. You're gonna get off course. But check this cool thing out. An airplane is off course 90% of the time when it goes to any destination. Yet it always makes it there. How does it do it? It adjusts every time it goes off course. It says, oh, air, it's off course, adjust. We need the same thing. We need a compass. We need something to help us adjust. And the way in which we do that is I give people a mission statement. And the mission statement states very clearly, for me, I'll give you my mission statement. My mission is to discover and educate the world's top young talent in business, design, and engineering. That's my compass. When I get off kilter, like, oh, George, you want to take on this opportunity? Oh, do you want to go here? Oh, do you want to go out here? I don't ask anyone. I don't even ask myself. I ask the mission statement. Mission statement, does that get me closer or farther away from my destination? Error, further away. Can't do it.
Yep.
Now, you have two choices. If you ask the mission statement and it disagrees, it says no, you have two options. Either you have to change the mission statement or you don't do it. That's the only option. But you cannot do a move that contradicts the mission statement, because every move you make along the way, even if it's a right move, even if it gets you close, even if the third move along the wrong direction might look like it's benefiting where you're trying to end up, it's completely wrong. In a mathematical proof, it doesn't matter if 99.99% of a 500-page proof is correct. If just one mistake is in there, the whole thing is scrapped. The whole thing is not considered a proof. Much in the same way, any decision you make, no matter how good the potentiality of the rest of the thing that could happen within a decision is, if the initial move you make is a no from your mission statement, the whole thing is wrong. And that's a very weird idea. It's a very weird idea to say that, but George, I know it's not the right, but look how much money I'm going to look at all these things that's going to happen from this. If it's a no in the mission statement, it's a no in the whole thing, no matter how good the rest of it is. And so now you don't have to ask anyone else. You don't have to ask your mom, your brother, your sister, even yourself, because you are fallible. You ask the mission statement. So you're going in the right direction. You're closing all those automatic systems that are running, so you're able to think more clearly. You know exactly where you want to go. When you get off course, you have the mission statement to align you. All you got to do now is go on autopilot and remove yourself. That's it. What I mean by go on autopilot and remove yourself, you no longer give yourself the ability to make your own decisions. You have a system that makes the decisions for you. You simply operate within that system. That's it. And you are the auteur of the system. You see, you're like a player. Your narrator is like a player who doesn't have his controllers unplugged. The only thing you could change is your environment that the player operates under and the rules of the game. So the way to change your life is to go through these steps and then to unplug or remove yourself. Because you should not be given the authority to make decisions. You should only change the environment in which your character makes decision under.
I like that. That's crazy, yeah.
It's
loaded.
It's loaded, but see, it's very loaded, right?
Yeah.
Yet, when you watch George's Academy, it's 10 videos. Each of those are under 3 minutes long. And there's a specific action step that's already done for you in each one of them. all you got to do is just copy and paste it over.
What does it look like? Like copying, pasting text? Or
It's on Notion.
Okay.
You get your own customized dashboard, and then there's the wallpapers are ready. The GPT template is ready for all you got to do is just input your initial baseline information. There's already example mission statements. You could pick one of those or generate your own from a GPT template. Your dashboard is already ready. You see how all those things go in your dashboard. So you shouldn't make any decisions. Your dashboard should make decisions. And if you don't like it, just tweak the dashboard. You're no longer at fault. Your dashboard's at fault.
I like that. So it's kind of like setting your parameters, like
Yep.
to that. Like that is not even a baseline, but it's like the parameter, like everything you're always aiming for.
Creating
like,
your map.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example, on my phone, I have my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Every minute is planned out.
You like it like that?
I fail 95% of the time.
Yeah.
But guess what? I just always get back on course. As soon as I
Yeah.
fall off a couple minutes or an hour, I just go back on course.
I like it.
I don't worry that, I failed.
Yeah.
I think I messed up because I realized this was the number one thing I realized, that planes are 90% of the time off course.
Yeah.
But they always make it to their destination. So what matters more?
Yeah.
Your ability to go perfect 100% of the way there, or picking the right destination, and then just maneuvering it when you notice you're off kilter.
For sure.
When I noticed, oh man, damn, 3 hours went by, I was supposed to do this on my calendar. No problem. Just now I became aware of that. Now go back to the next thing I was supposed to do. Just get back on course.
Yeah.
I don't like the calendar, change the calendar. But you've already decided that the calendar is the optimal way you're supposed to run your life.
Yeah.
You've already made that decision. So if you're going off course, look at it, get back on. Get back on the horse. That's it.
I like that a lot. And I think Layla Hermosi said it. I liked it a lot. It was something like you should have this like structure, but don't be so. For example, you want to go to the gym every day at 5 a.m. Like sometimes like you should have this like fluidity of like the structure. Like it doesn't matter when you go, just go. Like you try and go every day at 5 a.m. But if that doesn't work out, that's fine. Just make sure you go. Like keep on that same exact path. Like what you were saying. Like, but don't get. Some people get too, I think, in their head about like routines and stuff like that. Like, oh, I missed it. Like, oh, I'm screwed now. Like, oh, I didn't go to the gym in the morning. Like, or whatever. I'm off of my thing or whatever diet or whatever they did. And I think, just being able to. That's why I really like what you're saying with like the dashboard, whatever, like that analogy. Because then it's just like, oh, just come back to center. That's it. Just come back.
Yeah. And look, days are gonna go by.
Yeah.
Time is gonna go by. So don't worry about any one particular day.
Yeah.
Just aim to go get back on your calendar.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, if I missed the workout in the morning when I was supposed to go, and it's either I'm gonna put it on the calendar for that day, or I'm gonna get on the calendar schedule to get the momentum for the next day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because then if you say, oh, damn, I should have worked out, now it's 9 p.m., I'm gonna go work out, you just agreed that you're gonna ruin the whole next day.
Yeah. For sure.
And maybe it's gonna take 3-4 days to get back on the perfect 100% swing. Whereas if you would have just, oh, I fucked up the first half of the day, but then I get back on the right schedule. Well, now you only did a small mess up.
Yeah.
Now it can go back on the loop. But you've already agreed that's the schedule. Either you change the schedule or you do the next thing that's supposed to go in the schedule.
Yeah.
You don't try to now, randomly put some things in there.
No, I agree.